Keanu Reeves confronts a rude talk show host. His response makes the audience silent. The studio lights beam down on the glossy stage, reflecting off the host's polished desk. The audience was packed, buzzing with excitement. Keanu Reeves was tonight's guest, and everyone was eager to hear him speak. The host, known for his sharp tongue and controversial style, leaned forward in his chair with a smirk. He was infamous for pushing his guests to the edge, making them uncomfortable for the sake of entertainment. Keanu, however, sat relaxed, his signature calm demeanor unshaken. "So, Keanu," the host began, tapping his cue cards on the desk, "you've been in this business for decades, and yet somehow you've managed to fool everyone into believing you're this humble, down-to-earth guy. But come on, you're a Hollywood A-lister. Private jets, million-dollar paychecks. Isn't all this nice guy stuff just good PR?" The audience gasped. A few nervous chuckles scattered through the room. The air suddenly felt heavier. The host grinned, waiting for Keanu to fumble, to get defensive, to prove that he was just another Hollywood star playing a role. Keanu took a slow breath. Then, without a trace of anger, he looked straight at the host. "Do you believe kindness has to be fake?" The question was simple, yet it sliced through the tension in the room. The host blinked, momentarily thrown off. I think people in this industry pretend a lot," he stammered, trying to regain control. Keanu nodded thoughtfully. "That's true, but pretending to be kind and choosing to be kind are two different things." He let the words sink in for a moment before continuing. "I don't do this for PR. I do it because I know what it's like to suffer. I've lost people I loved. I've seen pain, and if I have the choice to make someone's day better instead of worse, why wouldn't I?" The audience had fallen completely silent. No one dared to shift in their seats. Even the host, who thrived on confrontation, seemed to struggle for a comeback. Keanu continued, his voice calm but firm. "People assume that success changes you, but success just reveals you. If you were selfish before, you become more selfish. If you were kind before, you become even kinder. I don't care about how people expect me to act. I care about how I choose to act." For the first time in his career, the host found himself at a loss for words. His usual tactics, sarcasm, provocation, seemed meaningless in the face of such sincerity. He glanced at his notes, then back at Keanu, before finally shaking his head with a small chuckle. "Well," he said, exhaling, "I guess I walked right into that one." Keanu smiled, his expression warm. "You walked into a conversation." The audience erupted into applause. But this wasn't the typical applause for a Hollywood celebrity promoting a film. It was for a man who had just spoken a simple truth, one that cut through the noise, the ego, and the expectations of the industry. As the show wrapped up, the host extended his hand. This time, there was no smugness, no attempt at control, just a genuine handshake. Keanu shook it firmly, gave one last wave to the audience, and walked off stage. And in that moment, everyone watching knew they had just witnessed something rare. Not a performance, not an argument, but a lesson in quiet strength. As Keanu walked off stage, the energy in the room didn't settle. It lingered, like an echo of something profound. The host sat there for a moment, watching him disappear behind the curtain, then exhaled through his nose, shaking his head as if processing what had just happened. The audience, still clapping, wasn't just applauding a movie star. They were acknowledging something deeper. The cameras cut to a commercial break, and the crew rushed onto the stage, adjusting lights and preparing for the next segment. The host remained in his seat, uncharacteristically quiet. Usually, he would banter with the staff or check his phone, but tonight, he found himself staring at the surface of his desk, tapping his fingers absent-mindedly. One of the producers approached him cautiously. "That was different," she said, attempting a light-hearted smile. The host looked up, nodding slowly. "Yeah," he muttered, then leaned back in his chair. "You know, I've been doing this show for years. I've had every type of celebrity sit in that chair. Politicians, rock stars, comedians, actors, and most of them play the game. They know the routine, they give the sound bites, they go along with the joke." He paused, his brow furrowing slightly. "But Keanu, he wasn't playing. He didn't try to win." The producer crossed her arms, intrigued. And yet, somehow, he did. The host let out a short laugh, rubbing his chin. "Yeah, that's the part I can't stop thinking about." Backstage, Keanu walked through the dimly lit hallway, nodding politely at crew members as he passed. a production assistant no older than 20, hesitated before stepping forward. "Mr. Reeves?" she asked nervously. Keanu stopped, turning to her with the same calm presence he had on stage. "Yeah?" She swallowed, glancing down at her clipboard as if trying to find the right words. I just wanted to say that what you said out there, it really meant something. People don't usually talk like that on these shows." Keanu smiled, his expression soft. Maybe they should. The assistant smiled back, her grip tightening on her clipboard. Keanu gave her a small nod before continuing down the hallway, disappearing into the quiet of the backstage area. Back in the studio, the host finally stood up, straightening his suit jacket as the floor manager signaled that they were coming back from break. The applause sign flashed, and the audience clapped as the camera zoomed in on him. He took a deep breath, then looked directly into the lens, something different in his eyes. "Welcome back," he said, his voice carrying a weight it usually didn't. "I have to say I've done a lot of interviews in my time, but that one might have been the most unexpected. Keanu Reeves, ladies and gentlemen, I think he might just be the real deal." The audience erupted once more, but this time it wasn't just for entertainment. It was for a rare moment of honesty in a world that so often rewards the opposite. And somewhere, walking out into the night, Keanu Reeves simply smiled to himself, knowing he had left something behind. Not a performance, not an impression, but a truth that would linger long